All right, I'm ready for an absolutely fantastic day. Was it April 5th, 6th, something? 7th, geez, time zooms by. I'm getting out of here exactly at sunrise, and the sun hasn't actually come up over the hills, but I'm using the official sunrise time, and it's light enough to walk. And so that is the correct time to start your walk in the morning. Maybe it's different at different times of year, but I think it makes a lot of sense because I don't want to walk in the hot sun. And I have a 7.5 mile walk to do today. It's mainly for exercise, but I'm also going to get an SD card so I can use my video camera again. I'm using my phone right now, which seems to work. It's not a bad option. So, in the future I'll want multiple cameras, and everybody should have their own camera. And phones, I don't know. I'm still not convinced that a phone is good enough. But we'll see, and I'll do it today. I'm pretty psyched because I appear to be making an agreement for a couple to come here. And also took some drugs for my nose. And I'm planning on, that's the first appointment I've had in a long time. And I'm planning on trying to restart this project. And that means involving other people, which is really scary. Because right now I have no accountability to anyone. Time just passes by. Another year goes by. Trying to survive. Thinking about what I want to create and do. But not doing it because it seems impossible. It seems very hard. But who else but me is going to do this? My visions are unlike any I've ever heard of in the world. And it's going to be tough to have other people here because some of them will try and take control. And I did have a couple here that tried to take control of the whole project. And I kicked them out. It did not go well. They're nice enough people, sort of. But I have a vision of what I want to do here. And everything was getting turned around to things that only serve them. They thought that everything had to be their way. And I'm afraid it has to be my way. It's not going to be a democracy. It is going to be something led by very specific visions I have. Not like mystical visions, but a vision of how things can be different and how a community cannot be totally fucked up, which of course most of them are. Most of them fail quickly. So, I think I'm prepared for this kind of thing, and they would not be arriving until the end of May. Mid to end of May, somewhere in there. And that means I'm going to need to invite other people because just having 3 people on site is not a good number. So that's a very hard and dangerous process to invite other people. But I can create profiles on a bunch of community sites and contact everybody I have ever known and trusted and see if they are in a position to have time, see if they have interest in being here. I mean, there's very few people in that category. Most people don't have time and interest in this weird project. And I have to make sure anybody I invite can easily leave. They have the financial resources to leave. And so they're not trapped here in any way. And perhaps gather a lot of people with skills I don't have and focus that I don't have, because it's going to be a lot of work. No matter how you think of it, it's not going to be easy. But it could be peaceful, it could be really useful, it could build people's careers, and it could be really exciting. So I'm pretty psyched. Oh God, it's cold as fuck out here. I'm only wearing a t-shirt because I don't want to carry a jacket. And I feel very light. This is great. And it's going to be a long walk, but it's a 7.5 mile walk. But because I'm getting out really early, hopefully I'll get back really fast. I actually don't have anything I have to get in town. I mean, I can get the SD card, and I would like to get my camera going again, so. And then I would like to actually make a PayPal order, even though the shipping will be way expensive, to get these 2 batteries I want. If I did have somebody coming down from the States, they could just bring those down. They're small batteries, so I don't think there's any problem transporting them on a plane. And that's another advantage of having people here, is that they might be able to get me some stuff I need. The blocking issues for me right now are I must fix solar power enough to have these folks be able to be online. The guy's interested in affiliate marketing. I already have an affiliate program set up with Amazon, and there's other ones. I'm not an expert on any of that shit, but he could kind of run that, because I've talked about promoting certain types of products as being good ones for the future. I don't want to encourage consumerism, but some products make you more powerful. Some products are good, so I'm not fully anti-product. So affiliate marketing could be great. We could even have reviews of products and have relationships with companies that we like, and they could be sponsors, because shit's about to get really interesting. Now, these 2, they're coming. I mean, we haven't finalized, we haven't said, okay, it's certain, but we're really close to that. And actually, I need to talk with her a little bit more about her projects, because she's got some really interesting ones as well. So, and then I, got to clean my life up and stuff. But anyway, so blocking issues are solar panels, and battery system, and perhaps portable battery packs that allow for electricity use in other locations. I gotta clean up my life. I'm actually kind of excited about this. Essentially, it's like getting a job, except I'm creating a job, and it's exactly what I want to do. Because for a long time, I've thought I could get a job online, and that's become difficult with the failure of the solar power system. But, and I would be happy to do it. And I used to make a fuck ton of money, like a lot. Way back in, last time I had a job was in the year 2000. And I was making like $165,000 a year. That's a fair amount for back then. So, that would be a path I could go. And I would like to support people here as remote workers. But I don't really want that job. Probably. I mean, I would do it because it would save the project and let me build what I want to build. But I would rather skip that and do what I'm best at. And that's building something that's completely impossible. A whole different culture, a whole different way of being, with amazing people. If you think you're one of those people, feel free to contact me. There's various ways to do that. One of them is a contact form in the description on this channel. Making a really good introduction to yourself. Hopefully you have social media out there. You could still come if you didn't have any. The couple coming, I don't know if they're going to be on camera or not. They're pretty private. They have almost no social media presence, but it is possible. Arr. Oh, see, I already don't want to do this walk. My legs are killing me. But do I have to just walk? See, I feel this way. I felt this way before. I think it's on video too. God damn it. All right. Will I die? No. Will I suffer? Yes. Fuck. Do it. Gotta do it. There is no choice but to go forward. That's how I feel about this whole project. I have no choice. but to do what I have to do. And it's going to be difficult and scary. People scare the shit out of me. But if I make good selections, we all have varying parts of the project that we can control. I don't... Well, I know a lot of things, I won't do it the way I did it before. So, anyway, wish me luck. I'm going to need it. Hopefully, this will be the last cigarette I ever smoke. I think I made another video at some point where I said I was smoking the last cigarette I'd ever smoke. Well, I'm doing it again. Hopefully this time it's true, because it's a total waste. I don't want to have smokers around me, and now that I'm considering having people here again, I would like them also not to be smokers. Sounds controlling, doesn't it? But even smokers I don't think are in favor of smoking, not most of them. And if we don't have any cigarettes on the property, and it's against the rules, now it could be that in the public space, more public space, that is a rule we don't have. You know, if we're hosting workshops and things, but I'm pretty far from making that decision. I'm not prepared to serve the public in any way, and I may never be. But, you know, let's say that in the future I have a space where people can stay and visit their family who are residents, and some of them are smokers. Well, so I make exceptions. It's not a moral thing, it's a choice of whether we have a space in which there's smoking or there isn't. And there's all kinds of specialized spaces in the world. I bet you that in some monasteries and nunneries that you're not allowed to smoke. I don't know that. But I see nothing wrong with making special spaces with special agreements. That is not control if people willingly want to live in that kind of space. And I would like to live in that kind of space. I don't even enjoy smoking. I'm doing it because I'm self-destructive in some ways, because I'm bored and lonely, and because I get started. Now, I probably am addicted to cigarettes somewhat. I smoke sometimes 2 a day. Occasionally, I think I smoked 4 and my lungs hurt. It's just a really bad waste of money. It's not a good drug. I'll do a whole nother video all about what I think are good drugs and bad drugs, and mostly that matters in how we use them. And staying out of problems with the law. Not interested in problems with the law. We have to exist in civilization, and I don't want to draw trouble. So, the last one, I hope. So I'm timing this hike. I got out at 6:30 sunrise. Took me half an hour to get to the first town. 15 minutes later, I'm at the railroad tracks right here. Can you see those? And these railroad tracks are used. You wouldn't think it because there's a bunch of plants growing on it. But trains do come through here. They just don't come through very often. In fact, I'd love to buy land next to the railroad tracks because there are some spots that are hard to get to, but I could connect them up, and it'd be pretty cool. Now, will trains run again on this more? Would it then be annoying? Maybe. Not real sure, but for now at least, there's not a lot of trains. And the train tracks themselves are a good walking path where there's no cars and there's rarely a train. So it has a certain value to it for us. I mean, we could even have carts that you use on the railroad tracks and then are able to get those carts off the road tracks really quickly. Make sure there's space along the railroad tracks to do that. You could even imagine a bicycle that goes along on a railroad track, and it might have an outrigger thing that hooks up another wheel to the other track for stability. But we'd have to be able to pull it off really quickly. I don't want anybody getting squished by a train. I'm trying to walk faster than normal on this walk. I'm already getting tired, but I used to be a really fast walker. You know, people would have a hard time keeping up with me. They don't anymore because I walk a little bit slower. I got injured a while back, pretty badly. But this is the kind of hike I need. I want to go on these 7.5 mile hikes, 12 kilometers, whatever, 3 times a week, I'd say. And I could even make a schedule for which days I want to do that. I don't really need anything in town right now, and the thing I'm going to try and get, probably the 2 places that might sell it, are probably going to be closed. But I'm probably going to have to make an Amazon order anyway to a local business in town that has agreed to receive packages for me since I can't get deliveries to where I live. I would order a fuzzy thing for my microphone and not lose it this time, hopefully. I would order a couple SD cards, 2 new batteries for my camera, and I'm not sure if that's worth it because the batteries are kind of expensive. And maybe I should just get a new camera entirely. But I really don't want to spend any more money than I have to. I'll probably want to get another camera anyway, because I'm going to have other people on site and we need multiple cameras. Because telephones, everybody has a telephone almost, but I need to have options for people, equipment. I do need to get a cell phone signal amplifier. The guy I've invited, he actually works using his telephone. I do have a little keyboard that is Bluetooth connected, so he could even use a keyboard. I could even have a monitor that was external monitor so he could work on his phone, but with a bigger monitor. That seems like it'd be a pretty cool idea. In fact, I'm going to have to make a big list of all the equipment that would make this project be powerful. The idea of living without anything, any technology and all that sounds neat, and I should certainly offer that as an opportunity. Digital detox and, hermit houses and stuff. But to succeed, this project needs to communicate with you. It needs to communicate with donors. It needs to inspire people, be producing information for the entire world, because we can involve everybody in the world on this stuff. We can talk about rain capture and composting toilets to increase people's power all around the world. A lot of impoverished people don't need much. Like lighting systems would be really one of the more important things. A lot of people in the nighttime, they lose access to all their labor because it's dark. I mean, that's what I'm doing right now, where every night's really long and dark. And I've just started to get up at 3 a.m. again, which is the best time to get up, because then I can get all my social media stuff done before the sun even comes up, and then go out and use the light of the day for what it's best for. Jesus fuck. Hi fuckers, how you doing? We're all friendly, okay? We're friendly. I'm so happy I have dogs that don't bark back and they don't get into conflicts. And I think I can take a little bit of credit for that. There's Ghost Dog and Food Love. And where's my other dog? Back there. And I think, that's a little girl, by the way. I introduced my dogs the other day. I think I'm going to call this one Fire. Her name will be Fire. Hey, shut up. Fucking dogs. Barking dogs bug the shit out of me. Yeah, I think I'll go with that. Fire. She's a cutie. She's a street dog. All my dogs are street dogs originally. But she's really nice, actually. And she's probably the least trained of any of them. I haven't spent as much time with her as I should have, but that's going to be one of the other benefits of having people here again, is that the dogs will be more socialized. And I'll teach people how to treat dogs, like don't feed them at the table, some real basics of there's some things people do that screw dogs up. They train them to be bad dogs. And we don't have to have it be that way. So a little bit of orientation with people, and that will not be a problem. Arr. So in thinking about inviting YouTubers here, people with their own channel, I wonder who those people are. And I have been, subscribing to channels that I like. A lot of those people are doing their own thing. Some of them are homesteaders or living off grid. So they're where they're at. They've already got their home. But if you think you would like to be a very successful YouTuber with support, with sets available, with green screens and lighting, and living with really cool people, and some of whom we could recruit to be on your channel. Talking head channels I'm less interested in, although this is kind of a walking head channel, I guess. Talking head means it's just a person talking to the camera. less interesting. I'd rather have channels that are doing more interesting experiments and potentially inviting people who are compatible with the culture of the general space, but also are very interested in that particular channel. So if you are a moderately successful or want to be a very successful YouTuber, then you could come here. We could build your channel up. You could be making money off of it with support systems. So let me know if you're one of those, and I'll be contacting some of the channels I like directly and saying, hey, are you crazy enough to want to live in the middle of the woods with a bunch of other people? Not very many to start with, but you know, I want to have a base team of 6 people, build that to 12, then, you know, fix up a bunch of spaces, build it up to 24. All of a sudden you've got a healthy system, and everything becomes easier. There's a food system in place. You can have a very simple life in some ways, because a lot of systems can be in place to make your life easy and simple and fulfilled and less distracting than in the city, and healthier. So I don't know, are there channels you would recommend of people? I look at van lifers and stuff, and they're mobile by definition, and they've got their own house they travel with. So I could easily set up places where they can park their van, have a roof next to it, so they can get out of their van, even if it's rainy and windy and stuff, not be in the sun. Maybe have a little outdoor kitchen for them there, have a fire pit and a composting toilet so they don't overload whatever system they have in their vehicle. There's all kinds of YouTubers I think are very inspiring and impressive. And like there's one woman, I don't know if she'd want to come here, but I've been watching her for years. And she's a musician, which is cool. She has good values. She seems really smart. She's young-ish, probably in her late 20s is my guess. Maybe early 30s, I'm not sure. I can't tell the ages of people very well. But I might suggest to her, hey, do you want to come down? Because we briefly talked about that, but we also then talked about my road being really bad. Well, the road is better now, and if she doesn't need to be driving in and out all the time, then she just needs to get in and then have a good space to be in, and then do her music, publish her music online, which she already does. So she's already compatible in that sense. She's doing something artistic and cool. And she sings as well. She writes her lyrics. And I believe she plays a guitar. And that would help me invite other musicians down then as well. And she could be performing for the world. She already performs at places she is. I've seen videos of her on stage singing her songs. You know, I think of makers and people like that would be potentially compatible. Lots of people with successful YouTube channels could be compatible here, and maybe only 1% of them would want to live here, but that's enough. There's a lot of people in the world, so I've got to pick them carefully, make sure they're not a problem. I don't think she would be, just based on my impression of her online. You know, she produces a lot of stuff, she writes stuff, and so I don't know. I mean, if you could invite any YouTubers or content producers to live on your land, your fictional forest, or maybe you have a real one, who would you invite? I can think of authors I would want to invite, you know, and they'd have a beautiful space to write, nice quiet spot. I could have connectivity. I don't know who else. I like comedy. We could invite a bunch of comedians, and their primary audience would be out in the virtual world. You know, and maybe part of the year they travel and do shows, and part of the year they're here. Now, I don't know if I want to do part-time people as much, but there are people who want to be where they're at for half the year, and the other half of the year they might want to be here. So I have a lot of options. Who do you suggest? Who do you follow that might be compatible and that you would want to invite, and that maybe I should invite to here? You're really cool. All right, so I'm passing by a friend of mine's house. He lives over there, off grid. Cool dude, him and his wife and kids, and they're actually working on some cool projects that maybe actually I should visit them and we'll publish their stuff. I don't know. We'll see. But it was a half hour to get from well, let's see, what did I say? 15 minutes from the railroad tracks to here, half an hour from the town to here. That's where we're at. So as I walk into town, for months it seems like, I've been listening to a guy named Thomas Sowell. Probably one of the best philosophical thinkers who's still living. He's got to be old by now because, there's like videos of him in black and white from long ago talking about his thoughts, and he's got many books. So I've been listening to a couple of them, and he's got great thinking. Now on Wikipedia, he's listed as being a conservative, which I don't agree with, because both the right and the left are fairly authoritarian, and he's not. He's an economist. He looks at the economics of life as it is. I've been collecting bits of wire for an art project. Found a wire. He's very pro-freedom, and he's against the unintended consequences of the government's laws, whether they're right or left. He's not a rightist or a leftist. And I don't know why freedom should be considered a value of the right or left or conservative or liberal. It should be everybody who's in favor of freedom. If you're not in favor of freedom, I can't really agree with you probably on a whole bunch of stuff. You know? Freedom works. It motivates people. People don't like to be enslaved. They'll let themselves be enslaved because it's more convenient. It's easier. But, there's some kind of people, I would call them statists, I guess, who think the government has to solve every problem that there is. And I don't think that at all. I think the government messes more stuff up than not. Both the right and the left in the USA have been supportive of wars all around the world most of my life. There's been more war than peace during my lifetime. And even now you can't say the U.S. is a peaceful nation. They have massive military-industrial complex. They arm the world. They have very violent society as a result. That would require some more thought on why is there violence in the U.S. It's not the guns. There's a lot of armed nations that don't have the same problems as the U.S. So, anyway, great thinker. I suggest you check him out. It's pretty dense. A lot of people might not be prepared to listen to it, but I have enough background in various disciplines to understand the things he's talking about. And he is tiring to listen to because you really have to have your mind fairly engaged. And he's a little old to invite down here, probably. I don't know how old he is. I know he's still alive, but eventually I would want to set up a retirement community here because I'll need it. Maybe start out with very active retired folks, older folks, because I don't have the health system set up. I don't have hospice. I haven't built the graveyard. I'm not ready. But there are active people who are philosophically compatible, and I would love to share the space with them. So while I often think about younger people being more active and, I like the newness of that. I like the passion of it. But there are really cool old people. I'm probably one of them at this point. I don't know what old is, but, I don't kid myself. Maybe I'm at the last stages of middle age. I don't know what old is. What is old? Like, what point do you consider someone old? I think maybe you're only really old in a way that matters once you get feeble. And if we have a very active lifestyle here, we promote healthy living, then we won't have feeble people. Now, everything ends for us all someday. I could have a stroke or heart attack and die today, but I could at least invite fans of his, Thomas Sowell, and maybe for some older folks, maybe provide an amazing space for them to be. And for notable people, they might have more difficulty finding a space in which they can be private and not bothered by the press. I guess once you're old enough, people probably don't bother you as much, maybe. But I would like to do that as well, set up a space where notable people can be and not be bothered by press and fans and obnoxious people who are fascinated by fame and notoriety. So we'll see. Thomas Sowell, great guy. Brilliant thinker. All right, what time is it? It is 7:46. I'm just getting to the edge of town now. It's going to be another maybe 15 minutes to get down to the other side of town. I'm not sure. And so I'll really have gotten to the center of town about 8 o'clock. I left at 6:30, so that's already an hour and a half. Will be. That's not too bad, but I used to do this walk in an hour, I think. Maybe I recall incorrectly, I don't remember. But I'm specifically trying to walk faster, you know, and my legs are going to hurt later. I do not care. I need to do this. All right, so I made it to town, and as expected, the place is not open yet. I can pass by another spot. It'll be closed too, certainly. They're kind of open randomly. And it's okay. I don't think I'm going to wait around. I don't have to have an SD card right now. My camera seems to work for now. And my goal is to do a quick walk into town and get back home. So that's what I'm going to do when I head back. This is a speed walk. So it's 8 o'clock exactly right now. I started at 6:30, so it's an hour and a half to get into town and turn around and head straight back. One kind of odd role that the intentional community I'm envisioning would have is an investment advisor, and perhaps even set up a fund where people invest into it, and we would make responsible investments, and you know, who knows, maybe just buy into the S&P 500 or maybe buy into other unusual things. S&P 500 is a real straightforward, safe bet to make. So, but that would allow people to be saving up money in the default system. Now, I'm not a huge fan of that, but people have to be independent. And so, what are they going to do? Just store their money in a bank? I mean, the ideal, of course, is if they have land and I can help residents buy and own their own land. That would be fantastic. And they would be investing in that. That's the better investment. But there's nothing wrong with having other types of investments. I don't happen to be a big fan of crypto, or certainly not NFTs. But an investment advisor managing a fund makes sense to me. Or maybe just helping people buy into something. If it's S&P no load fund, then there's no fees involved. So I don't know. I guess especially if there's kids born in the community, then I want those kids to be getting some benefits that help them have a trust. And that trust would then they'd have access to it when they were, 18 or 21 or whatever, perhaps in stages. And that way our kids are taken care of, regardless of whether their parents split or whatever. There's a system in place to make sure they're set up. And of course, the bigger part is to give kids better education and give them real power over their lives. So, but something to think about. It's a weird thought, because my primary objective is to break away from default society, but we also want kids to have the ability to operate within it if they wish to. And maybe they'll cash out that trust and buy land and become independent. I don't know. We'll find out. All right, so I got a big apple for me and a little apple for my horse friend. The really friendly horse up there. The kid I ran into said I should buy that horse. And who knows, maybe I will, but I wouldn't be able to own that horse just all by itself. That would be like animal abuse. So I'd have to get other horses, or at least donkeys. I think horses and donkeys get along pretty well, yeah? So I'm going to give this horse an apple, and I have permission from the owner. And I don't know if I'll buy that horse or not, but I really like that horse. I like how friendly it is. Maybe I really like horses. I just haven't experienced them a lot, and they're very useful. And maybe I should be riding into town instead of walking, because walking's tiring. And horses need to go places for their health and having a pleasant life. So we'll see. So one thing I saw in town is that there's a lot of distressed properties. There's lots that are empty, or buildings that are constructed long ago and not doing well, some of whom have no one living in them. So my thought is, since some people would rather live in town than out in the middle of the woods, is I could actually recruit people who want to live in town, whose values still I agree with, who I think would be good residents here, who won't cause a bad reputation or do bad things, who contribute to the economy of the town. And what they could buy, we could, make a map of all those distressed properties, and then buy those if we can also buy the house next to it. And that means that the distressed property, like empty lots, become gardens that serve the house that's next to it. So everybody's got these house and a garden. That would be opportunities, an economic opportunity in an area that I think is an amazing investment. So if you're looking to invest, that's an option. So let's rest for a second under this tree and think about snakes. I've got a spot where I have a rattlesnake living, and I got to get rid of it. I saw its nose poking out the other day, and I thought maybe my friend had blocked up its entryway, but I didn't recall correctly where the entryway was. It's still open. So there's at least one snake in there, and snakes probably don't always live alone because they want, Mrs. and Mr. Snake to be together. Make little eggs. They lay eggs like chickens, except that they're snakes. And it would be really fun to raise those. Maybe not necessarily that one because it's a rattlesnake, and there are other snakes around, some of whom might be endangered, or some of whom might make good pets. I don't know. I'm not a snake expert. But I like the idea of raising some snakes. I like the idea of making a protected snake location with a greenhouse over it, with water that has a little pool within it. I don't know, how often snakes drink or how that works out for them. But, make sure they're in a really comfortable snake habitat that's big enough for them to not even know they're in a cage. Next to it, raise mice, small mice, also in a place where they can't escape and they're protected. And then those mice could have, once they're old enough, there could be like a place they can climb up and go through a tube. We could put a trail camera on it and have a little solar power to power the camera. We could actually record how many mice go across it into the other location. And maybe we have a little door on that to allow them to go into the other space or not. Of course, any mouse that was adventurous enough to go into the other space might not be coming back, but that's how we would feed the snakes. And we can have, traps to capture rodents as well and just dump them in with the snakes because I don't want any more rodents in houses. I don't know, but that sounds really fun. It would be a snake zoo in a sense. And there could be like a very well-protected big window thing where people can sit and watch the snakes, stand and watch the snakes, sit and watch the snakes, see some snake behavior. We could have a webcam broadcasting Snake Land live. I don't know. And I'm not even into snakes, but they do play an important part in the ecosystem. And I guess I would rather raise any native snakes that we can find that also make good pets. Because if they overpopulate, which they might because we'd be giving them a really good spot to be, then we could sell some as pets or have them ourselves as pets. Having a snake as a pet seems a little weird, but, they're cool. There was a movie, Dusk Till Dawn, and Hayek. What's her name? Anyway, Dusk Till Dawn was a weird-ass movie because it starts out normal and then everything just hits the fan. Selma Hayek. Selma Hayek does a really sexy dance in it, and I think she has a snake. So I don't know. I don't know about the idea of keeping snakes as pets, but even those snakes, if you did keep them as a pet, they could be kept not in a terrarium, but they could be kept in a bigger area. And of course, if they're not the kind of snakes to bite you, then people could actually walk in there and play with the snakes. We could have highly socialized snakes that have a big area to be in, and that might be kind of cool. And then if they're native snakes, we could raise too many and release them into the wild. I don't know if there's endangered snakes or not, but climate has changed. There's less water in the hills. And so we could actually be doing wildlife restoration by also having an economic motivation and an amusement motivation, because snakes are kind of cool, to protect and enhance the snakes in this environment. Sounds like a good idea. I was thinking more about that railroad down there and buying land along it, and how maybe it's a long-term good investment to buy land along it and even dig out and plan for ways that trains could pull off of it and even turn around and go back. Small trains, because it's a great way to travel. I think it's more energy efficient. And you could imagine that there could be a bunch of communities. It's a really long railway. I've looked it up online. I know where it ends over there, and I know where it gets to somewhere far, far, far away. And I know it's underutilized. It's an underutilized resource. And if we did make these ways to go off into a side track, and there's a side track over there by an old railway station that's out of commission now, because there used to be passenger trains and now there aren't in this area on this line. There are in some other places, but on this one there isn't. And so you kind of almost wonder, could you buy the whole track and use it to connect a bunch of communities all along it, and you would time it so that there was deviations and trains could pass each other, and there could be trade all along it. There could be passengers, because eventually gasoline is going to get more expensive, right? And cars are going to be more difficult to fuel. I mean, you could even imagine a steam train on it, or steam trains. And maybe they go one way during part of the year, part of the day mostly, and a different way mostly part of the day, or maybe different days entirely, because it's not a double track, right? But it could all get arranged, and you could write a program that would make it the most efficient of how you could move things along that to provide products for whole communities. It's a crazy idea, but I see it with its plants growing all over it. And I hear a train very rarely. It's like 3 in the morning. There's a train or something. I've seen a train in the daytime occasionally. Almost crashed into one once because I was zooming down the road, and now I always slow down near a railroad track because I don't want to hit a train because I would lose. So that's something to learn about, and it's the strangest opportunity to think about. And it would, like, what if you had like tons of intentional communities, little towns, echo towns, all along this train track, and they're all being served by it, and everything that they grow, they dehydrate it, they process it, and people move through it, and there's more social opportunities. This train track could be a resource that is astounding and useful, and nobody understands that. Interesting opportunity, maybe. Sounds crazy to me, but I like trains. Well, my friend the horse, I guess it's a friend. It's very a friendly horse, so, and it walks over to me when I visit and says hi, and I try and learn how to pet it, whatever horses like. I don't know about horses. It's not here. It's off doing horse things. And I bought an apple for it too. Well, I guess that's 2 apples for me then. Or maybe I'll save it for another day. Yeah, apples don't go bad that fast, so I'll save that apple, and I will bring it next time I come through town. Yeah. Because now I'm thinking about owning horses, and I know the previous owner of my land had thought about setting up like a horse ranch here and offering horse activities. And certainly somebody around here should be offering horse trips, like out into the hills, and maybe even a camping trip to a nice spot. There's hills here that are great to hike up. There's a hill over there that I have a friend who he could show me a trail to go to the top of it. That'd be great. I could pay him a little. And he's a really nice guy. He's kind of reminds me of me, actually. He's somewhat younger than me. He's in his late 20s. And I first hired him when he was 17 to do some work. So I've known him for a while. And, you know, he's a smart guy. And hopefully ambitious, because we've been talking about what kind of businesses should exist around here and what kind of opportunities we can create. Because right now he travels far away to another place, a tourist type place, and he works there during part of the year, during their high season, I guess. So, I don't know. It's fine. Maybe I could have a horse and then, it's not important if it's that horse, but it's so friendly and nice, and donkeys too, and I could definitely raise them. I'd have to get a vet that knows what they're doing to, I don't know, like, because I would want to get my horse impregnated. I would want to invite a studly horse over, a literally studly horse. And then it could make a baby, and baby horses are so cute. Baby everything is so cute. Baby donkeys are like so cute. It's insane with their big heads and stuff. They just seem so awesome. I don't know. It's beyond me right now. But maybe someday. So I did stop in town, and I stopped to get some sandwiches, and that blew a half an hour. So now it's 10 o'clock. And luckily, that's still pretty early, really. And so the day isn't oppressively hot yet. Okay. And so yeah, that doesn't count for my total walking time. I have to take a half hour out of my walking time, but you know, it's a long walk, and so I don't think a half hour rest is bad. I just have to calculate that as far as figuring out how long does it really take to walk into town 2. Town 1 is over there, town 2 is way down there. And now I got to walk up to get home. So it's going to take me about a half an hour to get home. That's my guess, is I should be home by 10:30. I left at 6:30. I'll arrive at home at 10:30. If I'm counting right, that's 4 hours. Am I counting right? Seems like it. And I tried to walk fast, but it's still a struggle. It's okay. I'm doing what I need to do. So I'm happy with myself, I guess. We'll see. So this piece of property right here is a huge ridge. It goes from up there to way down there, far, far, far. It has 3 fields on it. It's got one point down there that is near a well and also near electricity. And that particular spot is a little bit flatter. So you could imagine buying some property around that at the base of the hill, buying this whole piece of property, which would cost like $1 million. It's big, and it's mostly slope, so it's not useful for most people. You could make a walking park, like I've talked about in other videos, a walking park that goes uphill from there or over there. There's another spot, which I've been calling Sisyphus Hill, and it could have like walking routes up and down the hill to serve the town as an exercise system, as a way to be in nature. So I don't have anything close to resources to buy this, but if I had agreeable people who had similar values as me, I would love it if they bought it, and they could buy it with a design. I would be willing to spend a lot of time thinking about where roads could go to reach up to the upper part of the hill, because it is so slopey. There's already a crappy road that could be changed a little bit and make it better. And there could be spots for some buildings in different locations, and those could be buildings in the forest. Be really nice. And then there's fields out there that could be purchased as places that use this space as well. So it is close into town. It's really close into town. So I don't know if I'd want to be that close into town, but a little burned out and living so far out. So who knows? Maybe I would live there. It's really interesting to look at real estate around here and then wonder, are there people who want to escape from civilization as they know it and live in a freer location where there's less regulation and still live on rain capture? Yeah, I did mention there's a well, but I think everything should be built for being off grid and survive completely on rain capture. I think that is the way to go. It's the best way. All right, so I'm back home. It's 10:37. So that's an approximately a little over a 4-hour walk with a half an hour break. And you got to take breaks. That's not optional. So really we could call it a 5-hour walk. And if you have a group of people, then groups need to do things, and I didn't do anything in town. I spent no time in town. And so really saying it's a 5-hour walk would be totally reasonable. And shit, it could have been a 6-hour walk if I actually had a bunch of stuff to do in town, but I'm walking, so I can't carry that much stuff anyway, so it's not like I'm going to be shopping for food for a bunch. 7.5 miles, 12 kilometers or something. What's my time per mile kilometer? All right, so let's get some idea of how that worked out. If I went 7 miles, oh shit, I already fucked the calculation up. See, I'm bad at math. If I went 7 miles in 4 hours, then it'd be 1.75 kilometers an hour. I actually went 7.5 miles, I think. And that'd be also 2.8 kilometers an hour. I don't know, my math is off on that probably. Let's see what Google Fit says. All right, so Google Fit says I went 7.52 miles, which is what I was guessing, 15,290 steps, and I burned 1,318 calories. So I guess that's sort of in range of what I was guessing. Interesting. I'm going to do that walk like 3 times a week. It's not an easy hike. It's really not just a walk. It's a hike. 7.5 miles is a ways. Like 12 kilometers or something like that. I don't know. My math is off on my conversion, I'm sure. But if I do that, I will be advancing. And I have to get better. I have to advance. So, arr, 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 arr.